Dallas Cowboys interviewed Robert Saleh, former Vikings head coach Leslie Frazier, Kellen Moore, and Colorado head coach Deion Sanders. And they end up hiring Brian I think it's Schottenheimer or Schottenheimer. I'm not sure how to say his name correctly. And they hired Brian as their new head coach. Now, if you guys don't know, he was the former assistant under Mike McCarthy. So, he was probably learning the ropes and seeing everything, behind the scenes and things of that nature. Which, I don't think that he's going to last long. Because if you guys remember, Jerry Jones wants Jason Witten somewhere in the coaching staff, either as an assistant, offensive coordinator. He wants Jason Witten as his head coach. But he wants Jason Witten to learn the ropes a little bit first. Now, this was a decent hire. I'm not 100% sure, how this is going to go with him being the new head coach. But, you had people who were former head coaches or offensive coordinators and former Hall of Famers. And not former, Hall of Famers. You had Deion Sanders, head coach right now in college, but head coach right now. And he's played for Dallas. And he's won a Super Bowl with you guys. And then Robert Saleh, former head coach, former defensive coordinator. What do the Cowboys lack? Defense. We've seen Robert Saleh have some defensive calls, over the past 5 or 6 years. Then Kellen Moore. We were pretty sure that Kellen Moore wasn't going back after the way things ended in Dallas. If you guys don't remember, they said Kellen Moore didn't run the ball enough and that there was a problem. But if you got to beat up Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, you're not going to really get anywhere with that. And then Leslie Frazier. I did a video on Leslie Frazier and I didn't really know who he was. I realized he was former Vikings head coach. And so, out of all those options, you go with a assistant. And those were just who they interviewed. Where was Ben Johnson? Where was Aaron Glenn? Liam Cohen? Where was those guys at? Pete Carroll was out here. And you guys went with an assistant coach to be your next head coach. Now, from the things that I've read and from other sports analysis and stuff, Jerry Jones wants a yes man. He wants a guy that's going to come in there and say, yes, I will do this. Yes, I will do it. Because you can't choose your own staff in Dallas. Jerry Jones chooses head coaches, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, because he feels like he knows it all. So you don't get to choose your own staff down in Dallas. He handpicked Jason Garrett. He handpicked Mike McCarthy. He handpicked Brian. I just don't know why Dallas is the way they are. But I can tell you why, actually. Jerry Jones. Instead of, fixing what hasn't worked for you in so long, you sit here and you go, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And, you entertained Deion Sanders. Now, if you don't know Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, they want sports. How do I want to say this? They want seats to be filled, and they want everybody to have all eyes on the Cowboys. hiring an assistant head coach to be your head coach instead of Deion Sanders. And even if Deion Sanders, you could have gotten a Pete Carroll or a Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn. You could have had something differently. But those guys didn't want the job because they can't choose their own staff. If I'm a head coach and I go to, let's just say, Jacksonville, I go to Jacksonville and then they say, hey, Cliff Kingsbury is your offensive coordinator, and let's just go, Steve Spagnuolo is your defensive coordinator. I can work with that. Hey, great. But if you give me guys that I don't feel like fit my system and what I'm trying to do here, because yeah, you might give me some good or great or elite coordinators, but what if they don't fit my system? What if the players don't fit their system? So now, let's say I got Cliff Kingsbury as my offensive coordinator. What if ETN doesn't fit in the role? What if they say, hey, Brian Thomas Jr., you had a phenomenal rookie season, but we're looking for a better wide receiver than you? I'm not gonna have that. Now, I'm the head coach and the owner, the owner, also has final say, and the head coach has final say as well, you know. But you can't do that. You can't just be picking people because you feel like you know it all. And Jerry Jones wants it all. And he wants the credit because instead of just having your players win you a Super Bowl and you just say, hey, I signed the head coach. He wants to be responsible for the head coach, the players, the coordinators, the DB coach, the linebacker coach, the offensive line coach. He wants to be responsible for it all. And the thing Jerry Jones doesn't realize, if you're responsible for it all, then it all falls down on you too. If you want the respect, if y'all were to win, then you gotta take the hit when y'all lose. It's just as simple as that. It is simple as that. And I'm gonna tell you, years ago, when Dak took, Jerry Jones to the bank, all you had to do was let Dak Prescott, sit out there for a minute, and then he'll realize, like, nobody else was paying me that. If you would have offered him, instead of 70 mil, I don't know, probably 55 mil, I'm sure not a lot of teams would have taken Dak Prescott. So, this is a bed that Jerry Jones has to lay in now. And Cowboys fans, I'm ready to see y'all demise. Being a Washington fan, it's just funny watching Cowboys make mistake after mistake after mistake. It never gets old. Never gets old.